Welcome to the 21st episode of Ion Hong Kong. This is Harminder.
This is Key.
And I'm Lee. Happy birthday, Ion Hong Kong. 21's a significant number.
Is it?
Why?
In Britain it is, yeah.
Oh.
It's the age of... Wait, it's the age of being able to drink in the US.
It's 18 in Canada, so...
I think it's 18 here too.
Yes.
And 16 for sex, by the way.
Well, it used to be 21 for sex.
We're not even 1 minute in the show, and then the sex.
Well, I just educate people, sex education. Okay.
All right. So let's
That's a
see.
good start to the program, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't even know where to begin now.
Explicit now.
All right. I guess we can talk about the big story of the week, and that is Civic Party member Ken Tsang being taken into a dark alley in a way and beaten by 7 cops. A pretext to that was there was a protest on Lung Wu Road, right?
Yes.
And he was part of the protest, and the cops were a little aggressive that night, I noticed on some of the news feeds. And they hauled him away. They tied those plastic twist ties to arrest you instead of the metal handcuffs. And they took him to a dark alley or dark corner and then started kicking and punching him. That's what we saw from TVB cameras that caught the whole incident.
Yes.
So nobody can say, oh, it's doctored footage or something. It was TVB. Not exactly the smartest cops. I mean, can't you notice a big, giant TVB camera pointed your
I
way?
think they take it from quite far away. That's why they didn't.
Oh, it's a little grainy and stuff, yeah.
And then they have someone actually looking out to check.
Oh, they had a lookout.
Yeah.
A bad lookout.
Yeah.
The guys, the people who hawk their merchandise on the streets have better lookouts for the FEHD than these guys. So he's obviously been beaten, and then they haul him away to jail, and he said that he was beaten some more in jail. And this is the first time we've seen the police beat protesters, by taking the law into their own hands. Not, I mean, beat as in mob, like a mob jumping on one person.
You must have attended a very good school when you were young.
Cops?
Yeah.
Why, you had cops at your school beating
No,
people?
I mean, when you were in high school then, you didn't see any cops doing that to the students?
We did. Yeah,
No.
minor strike. I was brought up
God.
on the minor strike, and there were plentiful images of the cops beating the shit out of people. Beating things out of people in the minor strike era. I think it's interesting. The fact that it was TVB is interesting, and the fact that it was 27 journalists at TVB who refused to have that film footage censored, doctored, edited, however you want to call it, by the footage, TVB management, right? That was interesting.
No, the footage was intact. They removed the voiceover
And the
talking about police beating this one guy up. That's what they removed, and
the text on the website.
Right, and that's why the journalists spoke up, which is great.
Has there been any feedback from the management of TVB to the journalists? Has anything happened?
They actually said the chief editor, and he said the reason why they removed the text and the voiceover was because it was under investigation and they have to be neutral, so they couldn't use some kind of words saying that he was beaten up because it's still under investigation, something like that. Bullshit.
What do you call that if it's not a beating?
You
You got to call a spade a spade. If that's a cat, that's a cat. You can't say it could be a duck.
making out.
So was there I hear what you say about the fact that they left the footage unedited, but was there an intention, or do you think there was an intention, or there would have been an intention to edit that?
Who owns the license of TVB to broadcast? The government. You don't exactly want to step on their toes all day long.
I'm curious about which journalists as well. When I looked at the page of journalists, and I didn't spot any of the ones that I know. So
Chinese. They were all Chinese.
The Chinese journalists,
Yeah.
and none of the English-speaking journalists was there. Correct?
You mean in that statement?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
the 27 journalists. I looked at all the photos. I didn't recognize any of them because
all the photos weren't
English.
up. I think on that thing. I think there was.
Were they? Okay.
Yeah.
You were talking about the statement, right? The statement put up by the reporters.
Yeah.
I think that at the later stage, and quite a lot of them joined together. I think probably even the English-speaking channels reporters, they also joined this
I'd be surprised if they didn't, because I know one or two of them are quite outspoken on Twitter.
At least on Facebook of Diane To, I saw her saying that she actually support her colleague.
Okay,
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So back to this. This issue was brought up in LegCo. It was finally back in session on Wednesday, and the pro-establishment kept making excuses. I mean, they said, it looked bad, but the poor cops are under a lot of stress. Okay, we'll get back to that.
So when you are under stress, then you can beat me up.
Like I said,
I'm very stressful too.
We'll get back to that. Security Secretary Ambrose Lamb?
No, he's the Law Society.
Ambrose Lee?
And Lie.
Ambrose Lie. My bad.
Yeah.
He was there and kept saying the same nonsense. First of all, they weren't suspended for some reason initially. They were just reassigned. And he's like, we have our internal channels to investigate this, which is the complaint commission, the police complaint commission. But that's really the fox guarding the hen house.
Yeah, because it's formed by the policeman.
Exactly. It's nonsense. You cannot have you cannot have the police watching the police.
Yeah, exactly. But they usually say that after the every month, these complaint office, they have to file a report to the Independent Police Investigation Commission, so that they will look at the report and to see whether they have done the investigation in a fair manner.
Now, has there ever been, a report being
very interesting.
scrutinized?
I think it's a online magazine of scholarism. They dig out some data from the government saying about this complaint against the policemen using excessive force, and then I think last year they have 340 something cases about that, and zero was found. They found zero cases of substantiate.
It's like a North Korean vote.
So who runs the IPCC then?
IPCC, they claimed before it was headed by a barrister, and now they assign the position of chairman to a pro-Peking, I would say, pro-Peking government or government people.
But how can a post like the chairman of the Independent Police Complaints Commission, how can a body which is set up to protect the public against police abuses, how can that be headed by a politician?
He's not. Is he a politician because he's a member of NPC? Ex-NPC, yeah.
I think he's DAB, isn't he?
No, not DAB. He's an ex-NPC.
I'd have to look it up.
So, but it also formed by other people like a professor from the University of Hong Kong, the law faculty. There are quite a lot of other people in the committee.
So it is reasonably reliable that we could, if we needed to, rely on the IPCC to be
I would say
genuinely independent.
Before they were quite outspoken, and they will just say they will send people to the protest to monitor the behavior of the police. But last time the 1st of July march, they refused to do so, and then people were quite surprised that they didn't send anyone.
Well, it would bring down the morale. You don't want to bring down the police's morale, according to the DA.
I'm not quite sure whether they have any now.
No. Well, that's why they beat people up, because the morale is so low. So that means
so that they beat up people.
When morale is low and you're pissed, you can beat people up.
Okay,
that's the logic that I'm hearing out of LegCo, out of the pro-establishment.
I don't know why we pay these people to go to the Legislative Council and
What's
to speak
the average level of IQ of these people? When you listen to people like Anne Chang,
which side
of specifics? Let's keep it because not everybody on the pro-government side is a complete moron, but a large number of them are. When you listen to people like Priscilla Leung and Anne Chang, do they have a screw loose, or do they have genuinely low IQ? I mean, Priscilla Leung's a barrister, right? So she can't be thick.
She
Is
never
she
practiced,
just-
though.
No,
She never
she's a
broke-
law professor, isn't
She's
she?
a law professor. So, do these people have low IQ, or do they have low emotional intelligence, or are they just so radically pro-Beijing that they're completely shuttered to what normal people think?
Look, we're
I'm
talking about
curious.
Anne Chang, somebody who said that other than family, everything is up for sale.
Including her body.
I guess that's what she said. So that should give you a clue.
Was she actually voted by people, or was she
Yes.
functional?
Yes,
Yeah.
voted. There are actually people that vote for these people,
It's astonishing, isn't it?
and then you look at their voter base
Mm.
and you understand why.
Yeah, so they actually, these people, I actually think that they are too patriotic in a way. And they only think about
One country.
Yeah, one country. And then they never thought about the two system.
Well, I would really like to understand the motivation of these people. I mean, they must have a motivation. If their motivation is, look, get real, we're one country, the future of Hong Kong depends on being part of China and the business consequences, it's going to happen, so get used to it, and we need to manage that properly, so forget all this nonsense. If that were really the motivation, then they have an argument to make. Right, they do have an argument to make, and I understand that could be your motivation, but I've never heard anybody say that.
I think some said that. So it's one of the main arguments, especially it's quite appealing to quite a lot of Hong Kong people because we love money and we love doing business and we love going to work. And that's why some Hong Kong people do buy this kind of
Why don't they make that argument? Why doesn't somebody in the pro-Beijing side make a clear argument about why they're pro-Beijing? Are they communists? In which case, just say, look, I'm a communist. I think there should be one party state. Fine, that's your position. Argue it. But I don't get the motivation for these people at all.
It's still a taboo, I think, to claim yourself to be a communist here. And then if you can only say that you're pro Peking, but not saying that I am a communist, because CY Learn and people keep saying that he must be an underground member of the CCP, and he kept denying it, and even he threatened to sue people who said that too.
Yeah, there's no evidence, unfortunately. I mean, until I see his card.
Well, you need a name card to prove that.
No,
There may not be evidence,
his
but de
behaviour
facto,
says-
there's a de facto association that's pretty strong. So
even though his whole family's in the UK, enough said.
Well,
no,
He's one of those naked officials.
well, very obvious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So An Chang says that the guy, so Ken Tsang, who was beaten
Oh, yeah.
by the police,
Hold
says
on.
that he's a thug.
I
right?
made notes.
He's a thug.
So
He's a social worker who looks after stray kids who've been deserted by their families, right? And he's
definition of a thug.
a thug. He's a thug. I
Yeah.
see.
Social
And-
workers who help out kids are thugs.
And-
She accused him of pouring urine on the cops. No evidence. I mean, did she stick her nose in there to check? No, she wasn't there.
So the DNA tests on the police clothing to say that it's urine.
It hasn't
something
happened
like that
yet.
Hasn't happened. And there are scorch marks from the acid, supposedly, that she claims was thrown.
Well, so there were reports of acid was thrown. It could have been acid, or some said it was acid, and this photo
Yeah.
was circulating online. But it was
It's like biohazard photo.
it was a photo from a TVB drama.
Well, this type of accusation
Hong Kong
is
TV.
not only is it deeply offensive to the guy who got kicked, it's actually bordering on downright cretinous. So how can she get away with it?
parliamentary privilege. You can say whatever you want in that chamber.
But you have to be inside the legislative council to use
say that,
privilege.
yeah, that's what they say.
But I think one part of these kind of irresponsible using the online media for propaganda, it's quite shameful. It's totally embarrassing that the government information coordinator circulated that photo online and saying that how violent the protester using this acid liquid to splash on the police. But that photo actually is from a TV drama. I mean,
the government floated that image and said,
yeah.
Look how bad the protesters are.
I would name him because he's really.
Is it in the papers? His name?
His name in which paper? What?
who
He
you talking
circulated on his own Facebook.
Forget it. Don't mention it
Why not?
until it's in the. Until we can source it.
Oh, you could just go to his Facebook and look.
Could take it down and then say we were lying.
Someone captured it already.
Okay. What's his name?
I forgot.
Okay, no. All right.
But he's from the government PR.
No, he was an ex Democratic Party member. He's a traitor. of the party, and then he joined the government.
He's a traitor from the CCP.
From the
the
DP.
Democratic Party.
Oh.
And then he joined the government, and he constantly make up a lot of funny jokes. He said that he could be the spokesperson of a White House, like the White House.
Oh, please.
And then now he circulated this kind of photo.
As if anybody really cares, right? I mean,
Yeah.
if he wanted to do some mysterious...
His name is Feng Weiguang.
But does anybody know who he... I mean, we don't know who he is, right? Oh, we can't remember his
Andrew
name, so
Feng.
it's not that...
Andrew Feng.
So it's not that significant. And even if he were, then really, so what? Go and make a conspiracy about something that's interesting.
You're in the government, suddenly you think you're like big time. I mean, that's what I see from some of these people. I mean, hold on. There are more wonderful quotes from the pro-establishment. Oh, Anne Chang. That was she started getting emotional at one point, and Ray Chang cut her off with a quorum call. That was awesome. And he was actually laughing about it after he did it.
Really?
Yeah. And she was looking at giving like the stare of death. Priscilla Leung was saying when cops joined, they didn't expect to have this kind of job where they would have to confront all these protesters and apparently, accept abuse. And because the one line that they're all saying is that the protesters were pushing the police line.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, they're swearing and insulting the cops.
So freedom of speech.
But to these people, you swear, and it's like it's worse than being physically hit for some of them.
I mean, as if they really believe that the police didn't swear. Come on.
But the point is that this is the line that they keep spewing over and over again. I mean, really, if you can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen. You know what I mean? You sign up for a dangerous job, police officer. Most in this city don't die from like citizens jumping on them or shooting them or something like that. It's usually like they slip and fall or some other issue. But really, you sign up and you can't take it. Just stand. Okay, yeah, you have to work long hours. You didn't know when your shift was going to end. Yeah, there have been days where you weren't seeing your family. And somebody brought this up, a legislator, I forgot which one. He said that, okay, during the SARS epidemic, doctors and nurses couldn't go home. They actually had to fear for their life because they might have gotten SARS. No, same idea. They couldn't go home. They worked long hours.
Right.
And they were worried about their families too. Okay, so you didn't see them going, oh, I'm too stressful. I'm too. It's too much for me. It's human nature. I'm going to go beat my patients.
I mean, the police, they're acting quite childish in a way because when you see the now TV footage, you can see that when they clear up the road and then they actually taking selfie on the road and then they cheering up, clapping their hands. It's really like children in a party.
I mean, let's make a bit of allowance for human nature. All right, so they do that. They're probably bored most of the time. So what are they going to do, right? They're hanging around on 8, 10, 12-hour shifts. Most of the time, nothing happens. So what are they going to do? What would you do if you were on the street for 8 hours? I would probably do the same. Is it wrong? Not really. Does it harm anybody? Are they being childish?
I would have yelled at somebody.
I would say that it's not very
well.
professional.
Well, maybe not, but, I would make some excuse. I would make some allowance for that. I think there is a big allowance, the big difference between somebody shouting back at somebody and losing their rag and losing their cool, and maybe even hitting somebody in the middle of a conflict where it's completely out of control, but then doing what they did, taking somebody to a dark corner and kicking a guy who's handcuffed, that's different.
That's absolutely
Okay,
disgusting.
I can agree
I mean,
on
you
that.
want to fight, get into a UFC ring. There are plenty of people who like to fight, one-on-one. You can even tie one of their hands behind their backs if you would like, okay? They will kick your ass. But when you're beating some helpless guy on the ground, no matter what he did, that's wrong. And you should be ashamed of yourself. Look, and another thing I want to say is that we are not anti-cop. We are not anti-police on the show. No, really, we can't be either. Because the police are still the thin blue line when it comes to, unfortunately we're unarmed, so we have to rely on them for our security, even though it takes them 10 minutes to get to any emergency call. But we still have to rely on them for our safety and security.
Yeah.
And also, they have to act professionally. Also, they have gotten
if
into
they act professionally.
They have gotten into a gang mentality, no doubt. That's probably from the training they're receiving. where it's us versus these terrorist protesters. You do not betray your brotherhood. You do not betray your gang. You know what I mean? It's the same thing. Problem is, if the PLA ever rolls around here, they're the only ones that can defend us. Because PLA doesn't care. They're technically, that's why they brought in the PLA from the north to crack down on people in Beijing, because they were not. And the PLA in Beijing refused to fire on the students because it was like, no, these are our people. So you get somebody else that's completely different saying, fire, okay, all right, same idea.
I mean, people maybe say that, we have to be nice to them because they would help us in one day. But I would like to say one thing is that the police, they're not here to do a volunteering job. As the magistrate in Hong Kong once said to them, that they cannot always using this excuse saying that they're doing something for society. They are well paid for it. They do it, and they do it professionally. And no matter whether these protesters, they are going against them or not, they have their duty to the citizen, to the society, and they have to do it no matter what, even they don't like it.
Because I've seen police now break down in a lot of other countries, even so-called democracies, where they're not beating, tasering, going crazy, and they're being let go most of the time. And the police department's like, we saw them doing nothing wrong. They followed procedure, whatever the hell that means. We cannot get into that because and these police, the first step, right, was correct. Second step is suspension. The next step is investigation. Third step is, if there is wrongdoing, obviously, prosecution. And Ken Tsang said that he's going to sue the department, sue these cops individually, and that's correct as well. You have to set an example, because if you let them go, other cops will do the same, thinking we can get off scot-free. Our department has our back. And I don't care how high stress, Look, if that was a triad member, if he was the head of the Sun Yi-yong, whatever it's called, or the Wuxing Wu triads, you caught him and he just hacked up 10 people on the street, you still can't beat him up.
I agree.
You still can't do that. It doesn't matter. You have to follow the law and procedures. You cannot go in there beating people. You're going to lose the hearts and minds of the city, not just pro-democracy groups. You will lose some of the moderate voices in the other side too. So they have to watch what they're doing, and they cannot get into a gang mentality, which they have clearly. But they need to stop, and they need to get back to the honorable ways of the Hong Kong police. And that's where people are going to respect them the most.
I think the past week is like up and down for these protests, because on Monday, I think they tried to clear up Queensway. Yes. And then actually they were quite successful. Yes. They did it. And then even the protester didn't really try to resist that, and just let them to take down everything. And of course, after that, the policeman tried to take it down. The policeman said, I'm not coming here to clear people off, and we're just here to taking back the government property, so we just collected them back. And right after that, then suddenly some guys, hunky guys, of these construction site workers.
Hunky guys.
Yeah. And then they suddenly came, and they brought along quite a lot of bamboo sticks, and then they helped the protester and students to put up their barricades.
Bamboo barricades.
Yeah, it's quite an art, I would say.
It was looking pretty impressive. Yeah.
Well, you need I think you actually have to take classes to know how to erect bamboo scaffolding, right? So it was nice of them to help, but of course the next day the cops came with chainsaws and hacked it up and took it away, and even people were helping them, masked men, and God knows what else was in there, taxi drivers, truck drivers, whatever. They hauled everything away and cleared the Queensway. So another way is now open for traffic. Okay, well, this is why I said they should have in the last show. I think they should have packed up that area beforehand and consolidated as a goodwill gesture to the people of Hong Kong.
I lost my tent.
You lost your tent?
Yeah.
You should have
I
insured
usually
it.
stay in the Queensway.
You were staying there?
Yeah.
That's the first I know about it. Then tell us how it was every night.
What? So many mosquitoes don't go. Don't go there.
Why don't you bring mosquito repellent?
I bring a dog. Bite him.
Your dog's not going to eat mosquitoes.
No, that the mosquito will bite him.
Oh.
You'll end up having vet fees taking Rex to
Yeah.
to the vet.
Yeah, it's quite nice, quite breezy. This weather, I think it's good to.
I'm not asking about the weather. I'm talking about
I thought you were talking
the
about that.
people. How was like
The mosquito breeding ground.
Yeah, some people they are during the weekend. There are quite some drunk people there, and they. Well, but
well,
they're-
did they get lost? Were they looking for
I don't know
Lang Kwai
why
Fong?
they're on the Queen's Road. So but maybe they're heading to Lang Kwai Fong.
Yeah.
But they're quite funny. They usually they will sit down and then I will discuss and why we're doing it. And one guy actually complained about we blocking the road and he's living in Wan Chai and his son if his son is sick then he couldn't go to the hospital. And I said, why did you go to the hospital in Causeway Bay? Why did you go to the hospital in Central?
Yeah.
So I mean, it's good discussion with some people that they don't understand, and it's a nice experience. I think you should try this weekend. Bring your tent and try.
I don't have a tent.
By the way, it's free if you want to go there. Just go there and register with these
Red Cross?
not Red Cross. I think it's there is a tent that you can go register, and then they will assign you to one tent. It's free.
And then return it when you're done.
Just leave it. Leave it there.
See, I did think about doing this, but you run the risk that you're going to get. Well, I run the risk of being arrested and being deported if I do that, so I can't do that.
Oh.
I might take you up on your offer.
Don't do it.
Keep your WhatsApp open. All right. Some more highlights from the LegCo meeting. Starry Lee says we all have a disorder.
Huh?
Yeah. We have a mental disorder.
Well, takes one to know one, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Good one.
Why doesn't somebody tell her to change her name? What a stupid bloody name, Starry, for goodness sakes.
With
It's
2 R's.
romantic.
2 R's.
We have Occupy Central Movement Syndrome.
What's that? What kind of syndrome is that?
It's like
Like sleeping on the street?
well, no, it's actually for people that have been affected by it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's
So people not happy?
they can't sleep. Some of them they are having arguments in their families and friends, and it's causing a syndrome. I mean, psychiatrists can come up with anything.
Is she a psychiatrist?
No, she's an accountant.
But do you guys have any problem with your friends to discuss this kind of
Actually, I
No.
Occupy?
I do,
Or
but I'm not
Occupy.
sure if it got lost in translation. A friend of mine who's very anti-Occupy knows my views, and I know her views. She lost it the other day and said that the protests were going nowhere because they were losing mass appeal, that people were fed up, and that the people who were protesting had never had to feed their families because they're being fed because they're generally young, and that expats were getting involved. But it was all right for them because they could just
you.
they like me. Well, that's why I kind of took it a bit personally. The expats were getting involved, but it was easy for us because we could get involved. The place could collapse, and then we'll just go. It just so happens that this person is applying for immigration at the moment, so I didn't want to say, well, actually, I'm staying, and you're the one that's planning on going.
Yeah.
But I wonder to the extent how many people are looking at the expats who get involved, because there are a number of expats involved.
You were there having lunch.
How many
during the
how
day.
many people are looking at the expats being involved, thinking the same thing? Because it's it's a legitimate thing to think that it's okay for you because you're just here to cause a bit of trouble. You might think that democracy is great, blah blah blah. I don't understand local situation. If things go really bad, then you'll just go, and that's true. So people like me have to have an argument to respond to that kind of thing.
Well, I think it's ridiculous just to say that. I've heard this many times. They're kids. They're stupid. They're impressionable. They can be manipulated. They're the young minds and stuff like that. Really patronizing stuff I hear all the time from the other side. if you don't stand up for this now, you will not have an opportunity later, and then you wished you had done something before. I mean, it's ridiculous. I'm so sick and tired of hearing people saying, "Oh, don't get involved, just make money," blah blah blah. We are in this situation right now where people cannot afford to buy a house. Food prices are exploding. The public transportation keeps increasing their prices every year almost. And we're being told that inflation is only 2 to 3%. Bullshit. It's more like 10 to 15. And it's caused by the very people in government that allow the continuation of a low interest rate environment, that allows for speculation, that allows for the exploding rents and high property prices. Nobody talks about, not even the pandems. I don't know why. Do they not understand it? I'll be happy to show them how it's done. And I'm not even an economist. We are stuck. The reason we are in a low interest rate environment and will not get out of it is because it benefits Hong Kong finance companies. Because how many people come here to start their IPOs? How many come here to buy property? How many come here to get a loan for their China business? Because China has a high interest right now on their loans. Well, it's ultra low here because we're pegged to the Fed, right? So it's killing society. It's killing the middle class and under. Even the nouveau riche, okay? People who might have a few $1 million in assets are being killed right now and under. The rich, the mega rich, the ultra rich, Li Ka-shing, they're Scrooge McDuck. They are just swimming in money, you know? They benefit from a low interest rate environment and because they can get ultra low rates to buy up real assets, and their customers can get ultra low rates to buy up their properties. It's a win-win for them. And the government doesn't want to do anything about that.
Yeah.
That is grounds for assassination if you actually challenge that. All right? They would rather kill you than allow you to take away the peg at this point. That's why kids and the students are pissed, because they see no future. They are a little misguided thinking that democracy will fix things. It won't. It's not a panacea. It's actually going to make things worse. I'm sorry to say, democracy always makes it worse because bad elements get in all the time. Of course, if you have a strong rule of law plus a strong constitution, you can stop that most of the time. But not always.
I noticed that quite a lot of my friends, they really unfriend their friends on Facebook. And even I think last few weeks ago, I had a dinner with a friend. He's quite a gentle guy. And I had dinner with his mother and his family together. And they had this big argument. And at one point, my friend, the mother and father, they were entirely occupied, and the son, actually the son quite moderate usually, and he had this argument with his parents, and at one point he shouted to his parents that you guys are dying anyway. You're not doing anything for your kids and your grandchildren. That's
been my argument for most of it as well. Is that these people that are very anti seem to be the gray generation.
I think so. Quite a lot of them, they're from the baby boomers generation.
I heard a legislator or somebody say this. The last generations built Hong Kong and this generation wants to destroy it. No. You just want to keep everything the same, even though it's going to make it worse for the next generation.
I mean, for the maybe the Occupy or anti-Occupy, that would be maybe there's some argument for these different because of the generation gap.
Right.
But for the police behavior, I don't think is a problem of the generation gap. It's a problem whether people have consciousness.
The police thing is a whole different thing. It has nothing to do with the generation.
Even these old people, they still believe that the police they are good people. They would why would the police beat you up? It must be you have done something.
Even if we did, that is not grounds for police to beat you up after you're cuffed.
But they still believe that. I mean, that guy also showed these family group chat of his on the WhatsApp, and then it's showed that one of the member of his family saying that I would love to join the police and beat those kids up.
Oh, so you got a badge and a gun that gives you a right to beat people up?
I'm quite surprised that people. I mean, I have also unfriended some of my friends on my Facebook too. But I mean, it's not. It's no longer.
Have you checked?
No.
Not you guys.
Okay,
Don't worry.
yeah.
And I mean, this is no longer a discussion of whether you pro-Occupy or anti-Occupy.
All right.
I don't believe that
I have to say I would not unfriend anybody, even if they don't agree with
because
me.
of freedom of speech.
Right.
I don't believe in that too. No. I mean, for the freedom of
I
speech.
believe in freedom of speech so long as it's my view. No.
No, I mean not totally my view. I mean is a more moral problem. I think these people, if they still support the police when they have seen the footage and they seen the pictures and they see the reports, if they still stand by the police, I think it's a problem of their moral.
I've never unfriended anybody just because they don't. And you know my Facebook wall. I am wild with some issues, and I am against the grain on certain issues that everybody else seems to be for. But I read the facts and I just present the facts that as I see them.
Mm.
Now, do I mind getting a healthy debate? Absolutely not. I love it. Do I mind getting into a small argument? Well, so long as it doesn't get personal. Once it starts to get personal, then it's different. Now, have I been unfriended? Oh, yeah. I have. Oh, yeah.
By SMP.
No, well, they block me from
you.
commenting, so they don't believe in freedom of speech. And I've been unfriended because of my views, and that's so be it. You know, that's not my problem. That's your loss. If you cannot have a different view, see a different point of view, that's not my problem. You know, I have my views, and I have my views, and just because you have different views, I don't have to believe what you believe, and you can't make me. It's that simple.
Is it also that I have my right to choose what I want to hear and what I want to see?
Sure, that's true also.
Yeah,
but
I don't want to have any more argument with these people. I'm tired.
I don't know. Well, yeah, that's true. Fatigue can't set in. But there's a quote, and I don't know who said it off the top of my head, but he said that I may not agree with you, but I will defend your right to be stupid.
Okay.
Okay. Your right, your freedom of speech, your right to be stupid as much as possible. And that's true. I will defend Ann Chang's right to speak crap all day long.
I love it. And it's funny.
It's hilarious. I love LegCo right now is more entertaining than any TVB drama I've been watching. I will defend what she says all day long, so long as it's not like lies, right?
Well, it is.
Well, yeah, right. But I'm just saying.
It's cretinous lies.
She thinks that this guy's a thug. Well, that's just mental illness, in my opinion, more than just lying. All right? Look at the woman. All right? And the way she talks, I feel sorry for her kids. My point is that even Regina Ip, I don't agree with at all, usually. I think her point of view is completely off. But I'll defend it. She has her right to say all that stuff.
Have you noticed that she seems to be around quite a lot at the moment?
She's running for CE.
Yeah, she openly said that.
This is her campaign.
This is her campaign. So she's trying. I get the feeling she's really trying to act as a mediator, and she's putting herself.
Oh please,
as
this is the worst person to ask.
Well, she's kind of positioning herself as the political dinosaur who's come back to rescue the mess, isn't she?
We don't forget.
Yeah.
Well, I hope people don't. No, she of the 500,000 people going for a walk on a sunny day on a public holiday. That kind of dim-witted comment. But do people?
Or that Hitler was also voted in by democratic means.
She's obviously going through trying to rehabilitate. But is it working? Do people see through this? I mean, the choice if the Beijing proposal does get voted by LegCo and we have this idiotic system or this undemocratic system of choosing, then it's going to be between her and CY Leung, isn't it?
And let's throw Ann Chang in there.
Ann Chang, we're going to have a choice between Ann Chang, Regina Ip, and Lun Chun-ying. So how great is that going to be?
That's not universal suffrage. That is hell.
Well, no, that's an immigration.
What will you guys do? I mean, be realistic now, guys. We won't get anything. And
it's not going to pass.
We will have only 3 choices. Then who will you choose? Who will you vote?
Between Ann Chang, Lun Chun-ying, and CY Leung, I'd choose an air ticket to leave. Because I would.
And you? Who will you vote? I will vote for Anne Chan. At least she's funny. Right?
You would vote for her for her comedic skills?
Yeah. Make me happy.
Well, actually, she's so ridiculous that the whole place would collapse if she won. So there is an argument to say that you should vote for her.
Yeah. I think that each of them have some quality, because Anne Chan, she's funny, and Regina Ip, she's pro-gay, probably will get gay marriage. Leung Chun-ying, I think he is the only one who can unite whole Hong Kong. See what he did now?
Unite everybody in hating him.
Yeah.
Unite everybody
exactly.
into what? A boiling pot of oil?
Yeah, and everybody hating him.
That is true. That is a good unification.
I mean, he is quite remarkably bad, isn't he? It's in terms of just whether you agree with him or not, that his lack of political skill is blindingly obvious. I used to think that Carrie Lam had some political skill, but she's obviously doesn't have any either. Who has some kind of strategic political skill to be able to work their way through this mess?
On EXCO?
Yeah. Anybody?
I would say Jasper Zhang.
He's not an EXCO.
Oh, right. He's
maybe... Okay.
Honestly, yeah.
Okay, forget the EXCO. Is there anybody here who has some level of support, some level of recognition as being a decent human being?
Jasper Zhang.
Yeah,
Jasper Zhang, Ronnie Tong.
Not Ronnie Tong.
So Jasper Zhang is the only person who's viewed on both sides of the political divide as having some ability to bridge the divide and find a way forward.
If anybody walks the line of both sides, it's Jasper Zhang. He does it well.
Well, he has to do that in his job, doesn't he?
Not even his job, just the way his viewpoints.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
So why isn't he doing something then?
He's old.
He's actually, I think in the last
he's not
time...
stupid. He still does a job. Why doesn't he do it? Why isn't he standing up?
He can. He's a president. That's his job.
He could resign. Though,
he could resign and do what?
I mean, like in the year 2012, the CE election, he was actually one of the candidates. They say that he will replace if both C.Y. Leung or
Henry
Tang couldn't make it, then he would be the one.
Oh my God! Why didn't that happen?
And at that time, Regina, you come in. Oh, okay, let me do it.
And everybody was like, "We're not going to support you."
True.
Yeah,
that's what happened.
That's why it's good to get this nominated. Don't change the system. She has no chance of getting. Nobody likes her. Let's be honest. Even the pro-establishment.
Are you quite sure? No, quite a lot of. I think
pro-business does.
Or these policemen or the immigration officers, they quite like her because she was the ex-secretary for security a long time ago.
So, and she left in disgrace.
Well, they still think that she did a good job at that time because she was tough.
Compared to what?
She was tough and she defend what she believed in.
Well, she has either she has no moral compunction, or she has had something of a brain hemorrhage since she was studying in Glasgow.
All right, this guy should run for CE. Legislator Che-cheung, he said that an umbrella is an offensive weapon. An aggressive weapon. Why? Because he saw it being used in a kung fu movie. This is real. He said this in chambers. I was listening to it live. Okay, it was used in a kung fu movie, so that is proof that it's an aggressive weapon. Because tear gas and pepper spray are useless weapons. Okay, because they cannot make protesters fall down. All right, they come back up again and again. But an umbrella will take you out. Will poke you to death, apparently. And it was used in a kung fu movie, so that means it's dangerous. Well, in the movie Chronicles of Riddick with Vin Diesel, he killed somebody with a teacup. So a teacup is also considered a weapon? My fists are weapons.
Absolutely.
So should I cut off my fists before I approach the police?
Probably, but I think if he's such a big fan of this kung fu drama, he must have watched these Crouching Tiger and Hidden Dragon. He should jump off from the building and to see whether he can fly.
He can.
I think probably he can.
Yes.
I cannot understand why we still stand these kind of legislators in the saying this bullshit.
No,
and
but
we're
look,
paying them.
If there are people actually believing this nonsense,
Yeah.
that shows the level of the intelligence level of their
Do they have
constituency.
any intelligence? I doubt.
Intelligence to manipulate their voter base, yes,
Oh my God.
with garbage like this. Okay. Because a martial art, if he's saying that, if you have kung fu skills and an umbrella, you could kill someone. Well, if you study martial arts, you do know, one, it's defensive, not offensive. And there are many, many, teachings that you have to go through about the philosophy of it, why you should practice nonviolence, and it's only, only in defense, blah, blah, blah. That you would not say, well, I know kung fu now, I'm going to start killing police with my umbrella. It's the most asinine, ridiculous statements coming out of these people.
From today, right? Today.
Yeah, it was
my
today.
God.
I was listening to it right now. Ronnie Tong called out Regina Ip in Chambers today. She was saying that in the States you have to be born in the U.S. To run for president. That is screening. Ronnie Tong's like, no, that is not screening. That's a condition that you have to meet to run for president. Just like how you have to be 40, above 40, and have a Hong Kong SAR passport and live here for 20 years.
He's right.
Before you can run. It's a condition. It is not screening. He said if the DAB crossed one of their members to the Civic Party and said, I want to join you, what would we say? No, you've been DAB, so you can't join us ever. That's screening. That's what he was saying. He was quite angry. I liked what he said.
You mean Ronnie Tong?
Yeah.
He's weird, though.
You got to give him props for that.
Well, but when this week he said something like, using 20 tear gas bombs is okay, that's quite outrageous.
A little schizophrenic. But he's right on some things, wrong on others, all right? And he's not perfect, but I'll still choose him over Ann Chang.
I like Alan Nunn more.
That's a bizarre choice, isn't it?
All right, Paul Che was making excuses for the cops. Basically, he was saying that they've had to work for Occupy Central and it's human nature to lose it. Does he use that defense in court? Well, he's a lawyer, Paul Che.
Yeah. That's
So
the basic law Superman.
Yeah, basic law Superman, Paul Che. Always has nice clothes, by the way, I've noticed. Very different from everybody
I only have
else.
his image that he didn't wear any clothes, but usually the basic law covering his private parts. Long time ago, he did that. That's why he was the basic law Superman.
In private, maybe. But, I mean, is that the defense he'd use? The cops beat up that guy. They were stressed out, and it's human nature to beat somebody after being on the job for 20 hours straight.
I don't know. Sometimes I don't understand, like Paul Che or Priscilla Learn. Did they really study law?
He said, don't arrest the assaulting police. It would reduce morale. I mean, this is the kind of crap coming out of their mouths. I mean, so they're above the law now? The cops are above the law? I mean, look, I don't want to make an enemy of the police. I want them to be our friends, but you cannot be above the law. Just like how I cannot be above the law. I have to follow the law. They have to follow the law.
So you are saying that they're ruining the rule of law in Hong Kong?
Who is?
I mean, these
Yes!
pro-establishment
Because they're selectively making excuses. When it's wrong, it's wrong. It's wrong because... There's a new movie that came out called The Judge. Robert Downey Jr. and Robert Duvall. And it's a story of Robert Downey Jr., a big shot lawyer, coming back to a small town where his father's the judge, Robert Duvall, and he's been accused of murder. He was citing that example, he murdered that guy because it might have been a crime of passion, so you have to understand the circumstances. You can't just send him away for life in prison because... He killed the guy.
I think sometimes people
he's a lawyer.
Sometimes people they mix up the idea of a defense and the
another movie
factor.
Reference, by the way.
You can use it, and it's. I mean, probably is a mitigating factor, but it really is not a defense.
And they kept saying, including Starry Lee, demonstrators were charging. Well, when I was watching footage, they were just releasing tear gas wherever they saw people.
Right.
Initially, it was at that line, and then the rest of the day, it was, protesters, bang. Ooh, protesters, bang. That's what I saw.
It was just, I mean...
It was a free-for-all. Seriously, it was like spraying roaches. Oh, there's one. There's one. You know, that's how it was that day.
Oh, Regina Rip said that tear gas wasn't harmful, and then did you see that that
Yeah.
press conference? And then the journalist said, "Have you ever been tear gassed?" And she said, "Well,
With a
no."
smile and a
She
laugh.
said, "Well, actually, no." And he said, "Well, how would you know then?" She said, "Well, it doesn't break any bones."
Yeah. What the hell is wrong with these people?
I don't know.
What are they smoking? Because I want to smoke it too. Because if you can be that stupid and actually be a legislator, I want to know what you're on because I want to get on it.
I want that job. I
And
want
make
to-
$88,000 a year doing nothing.
Are they actually a stand-up
A month.
comedian?
What?
There must be a comedian to be paid to get on stage and make some jokes.
Oh my God. Starry Lee compared the protesters to a Red Guard. She said...
Well, she would know, wouldn't she?
She said that they were going too far, the students.
How far? What did they do?
You know what they've done so far. That when the Red Guard went too far, it's true. It kind of became its own entity, and Mao had trouble controlling it. It's true. Afterwards, once he started that crap, so it was his problem. He had to get the army in to pretty much stop it. What are you saying? You need the PLA to stop this? Anyways, and at the time, the students thought they did nothing, and then it was later they regretted it. That's what's going to happen to these kids, is what she's saying. That you don't want to be like the Red Guard. That you will regret what you did later.
I mean, the records. Hong Kong people never been records in our history.
Yes.
Only these
No.
people from
Yes,
the
they have.
PLC Chinese.
In the 60s.
Oh, but they are from China.
Little red books, damn it. Little
mean-
red books.
I mean, those from China, though.
I think Jasper Jung was part of those protests as well.
The leftists.
Yeah, the leftists, yeah.
Right,
Of course, he regretted it later. Yeah.
I mean,
Well, so
only
An
those
Chung's right
people-
then.
Yeah.
So if Jasper Tsang
No,
did that...
that was Starry Lee.
sorry,
yeah.
I apologise. I confused my cretins.
Lung Kwok Kung had a good quote. People have been pent up for 17 years. I mean, you know how they're saying the cops are pent up, they're emotional. Well, Lung Kwok Kung, I actually agree with him, said, well, the people
Yeah.
have been pent up for 17 years. So that's why they're doing this.
I also quite like Leung Kwok Hong, and when he really has
He's good on the mic, but
I think so
I don't
too.
believe his philosophies. That's all.
But he's very, I mean, persuasive in a way. And when I saw him begging the students to stay
Yeah.
in the civic square, is
On his
really
knees.
it touched people. And I think another quote that
But
I
they didn't
heard-
listen to him when they were in the tunnel a few days ago saying retreat, retreat. They didn't.
Yeah,
They didn't
I mean,
listen to him then.
This is long hair, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, long hair. And he also said something like when the police was filming the protesters,
Voyeurism.
and then he told the police that please film us because we will be in the museum of our history because we'll make democracy here.
Good one. Not unless they delete the footage. I mean, really, they're treating the police like they're school kids given too much homework.
Huh?
You know, you know how they say kids are being overstressed by giving too much homework. It's the same thing with the way the pro-establishment is treating the cops. Oh, they're giving too much work. They're being made to stand for so long. $18,000 to $23,000 a year. A month.
But I thought Hong Kong we have quite a lot of police that they can take it by shift, right?
Yeah, but apparently a 12-hour shift is too long to stand.
Oh.
And the weather's gotten nicer too. Oh.
Poor little police.
Poor little babies. Oh.
Poor little cop.
So pro-establishment is so nominated again.
Which one?
What was it last week? EXCO? Nominated for the Shame on You?
It's got to be An Chang for saying that for Ken Tsang is a thug. It's got to be An Chang.
Yeah, Anne Chang's definitely going to be nominated herself.
You
You second that?
no, I
Who
nominate
do you-
another one.
Who?
I nominate the information coordinator,
Oh, what's his name? Andrew.
Andrew. I forgot.
Mr. Information Coordinator there.
I keep forgetting his surname.
Too low
Fung.
profile.
Fong.
Fung,
Yeah,
Fung.
Andrew Fong.
He's just an idiot.
It's just,
Anne Chang is just,
An Chang is just
What?
dangerous.
And the-
Yeah.
dangerous.
yeah. Stuff like that coming out of her mouth.
Yeah, because it means you've got people who've got voting responsibility for managing the city who actually are borderline cretinous. And that's dangerous.
But
Such a lack of intellectual
But
clarity.
this information coordinator keeps spreading wrong news. I mean, how could you trust someone in the government doing that position?
Well, that's kind of what governments do, though, isn't it? Governments spin and governments do things like that. So, to some extent, his job is he has an excuse. That's what spin doctors do.
But do it wisely. Don't at least check the source of the photo.
He's a good comrade. Government employee. Come on, man. You can't fault him for that.
What colour's his bandana?
Yeah, in his pocket.
Mm.
I do want to say this quote for the pro-establishment. No man survives when freedom fails. The best men rot in filthy jails. And those who cry appease are hung by those they tried to please. So they should really take that to heart. That they're destroying their city for their own political and financial gains. It's not going to end well if they continue on this line for the city, and I worry about that. But I also nominate Ann Cheng because she is just outrageous. That stuff is just...
Being funny is not a crime.
There's ha-ha funny and just like, oh my God, just insanity. There's an extreme... The Joker was funny, but he was also crazy.
I agree.
There you go. So Ann Cheng, congratulations. You have just received the...
Shame! Shame on you!
Award. And it's actually given to you by your fellow DAB legislator, Christopher Chung, who was also spewing a lot of crap, but I didn't have time to write it down.
Spewing crap against her?
No, against the other side, the students.
He used this Google image and to say that it's actually it's a weapon, and say that that's the weapon of the protester.
What was it?
It's
A butterfly.
no, it's a butterfly. It's quite a long stick.
A stick.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then why don't you have to Google it?
Really, they're going to make everything a weapon. You know, oh my God, he flung a booger at me. That's a weapon. I mean, these people are insane.
I think so too. So whatever they say, I won't trust a word from their mouth.
Anyways, for our next episode, we will try to bring on another guest. Again, it is Occupy Central still. It's difficult to get.
Do you think that it will end next week? What do
No.
you guys think?
No.
No? Why?
I think it'll get smaller to the point where it's going to consolidate into Harcourt Road. I think Mongkok will be overtaken somehow by the police. I just see the signs of them taking it.
I think
They'll do an early morning raid. I mean,
Something like
the
that.
tactics are clear. That's what they did this week. They did Queensway first thing in the morning when the lowest number of people are there.
Is Causeway Bay still there?
Yeah,
That will go first. I mean.
that will be.
That will be
first.
next, guaranteed.
Yeah.
Because it's like 30 to 100 people there, max. And I think one lane of traffic is now open.
Yes.
Okay, so that thing's going to go soon.
Yeah. It's probably is. I mean, if they really clear it off, and probably more people will come out again.
I think people are fatigued. They're occupied out.
Well, maybe they'll go this weekend because of Ken Tsang. Maybe.
But I mean, for the last week, we also thought that probably they would die out very soon.
No, Carrie Lam made like a really, 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 really stupid comment. That's why they came back out.
But then this week, today they said that they will have a discussion.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The government said they will speak to the students next week. But the thing is, Leung Chung-ying, you just pressed the play button and said the following: so long as the discussion falls within the framework of the NPC decision and the basic law,
And not asking him to step down.
and not asking him to step down. I mean, you've already put conditions, and you're saying no preconditions. What kind of politician is this?
He also had a very interesting quote today. He's saying that the discussion will not stop because of the clearance, and the clearance wouldn't be stopped because of the discussion stopped or something like that. It's very confusing. I don't sometimes understand what he said.
There's one point I wanted to make. He says he was not in the decision to fire the tear gas. He said that was for the commander on the ground, correct?
Right.
Then he goes on TVB and says, I stopped it.
Yeah. No, he said he go on TVB and said that the reporter asked him who asked the police to stop this tear gas. He said, I was the one who was in charge of the whole matter.
Well, there you go. He just incriminated himself. You were the one that said fire.
Of course, he
Yeah.
was.
And then you said, oh, bad move. Stop. What a dumbass.
Oh my God. Anyway.
He makes the last two CEs look like political geniuses.
He likes to take credits, and then he blames on everyone whenever there's
Except
a problem.
himself.
Yeah. I mean, come on.
Typical executive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, we got to end the show.
Okay.
So we'll be back next week. We will have a guest, I promise. I know you're sick of hearing us all the time talking crap.
I love my voice.
He loves himself. And please visit our Facebook page, facebook.com/IonHKPod. Follow us on Twitter on @IonHKPod. And you can find all the rest of it there. My voice is about to die, and I got to get off. Yeah.
Oh,
Final word, yeah?
Oh, you finished?
I'm done, yeah.
I have one more thing to remind everyone because tomorrow, on Friday, it will be the deadline of the submission for the opinion statement of copyright amendment bill.
Tomorrow is when this is going up, so it will be today.
Oh, okay, Friday. So please go to, if you have no time, then you can use the slot machine made by Keyboard Online and on the Facebook and just submit the statement. And if you have time, then please write a opinion statement and try to attend the public hearing next week.
And that's the end of the show.
Bye-bye.
Oh, and where's Donald Trump? Bye-bye.
Bye.